Yes. Please look up. Yep. Oh, yes.
Back to my channel. He's not my dad.
What are we doing?
You're not my dad!
We'll list a few things that you think are underrated.
Breathing through your nostrils because I'm sick.
The song Dance Dance by Fall Out Boy. It's like the one song that you will always group to.
Sweat pads. Elaborate. These little adhesive pads that you stick onto your underarms, and then you don't get big sweat patches when you get sweaty. Weddings, I wear them on platform at church. Yeah, that's so good.
You want to know what I think is underrated? What? Prime Minister serving their full term. But in all seriousness, water bottles are underrated. I mean, this bad boy is going to give you hydration.
Oh, come on.
For life.
Freshly cut grass is very underrated to me. I absolutely love the smell of it. Could have a grass fight. I mean, that'd be a little bit itchy, but it'd be fun.
Something that's underrated, having a partner in a video. You can have someone to bounce ideas off and just talk to, you know. Don't feel so alone and hopeless.
Socks and jandals.
No, nobody wants socks and jandals.
But they keep your toes warm and you can just slip them on and off so you don't have to put laces on.
Also, banana lollies.
No.
I love banana lollies. They are the best.
Teeth lollies are where it's at.
You know what's underrated?
But
Double sun protection.
hater blockers, bro.
You know what else is also underrated?
What?
The scrunchie. Completely
Scrunchy-licious.
functional, but also stylish. It was a thing and then it wasn't a thing, but it should be a thing again.
Home cooked meals. You live at home, you get them all the time, and then you move out, and then you realise how good your home cooked meals are.
Sucks living out of Chinese containers.
I eat out of them, I don't live out of them.
It just feels bleaching.
Step 1 underwear. They are the best undies you will ever get. And they've got really cool colours. There's like a pink, I don't remember what the name of the pink one is.
Pink.
Um,
Flamingo. You know
and-
what else is underrated? You.
Yeah, thanks, doll. Katie, whatever your name is.
I love thunderstorms. You can dance in the rain.
Big W. Everyone's like on this Kmart train. Kmart, oh my gosh, Kmart for everything. Yo, Big W is like the younger brother, but they've got so
They've
much.
got something to offer.
They've got so much to offer. Big W, I tell you, half the stuff I wear, Big W, I like it.
Where's that from?
Big W.
Just say potatoes. Like you can have so many different types of potatoes. Mashed potato, French fries, thick cut chips. Garlic bread is not a potato. Bella?
Your voice. When you lose your voice, you really notice just how much you miss talking. Makes things so much easier being able to tell people.
You know what else is underrated?
What?
School is underrated. I reckon that school is so underrated because it just seems like you just have to go to school and you have to hand in your assignment and you have to do this and you have to do that and you get told to sit down and you can eat your lunch here and no, you can't go in that building and don't run on that concrete. And you know, teachers just put in so much effort for the students and some students just don't even care about it. They just don't even show up to school. They don't hand in their assignment. And I reckon that school is just so underrated.
Dude, so true, so true. I think something else that's underrated is family. Like just our relationship with our siblings and our parents. Like I know, I feel like we all take it for granted, right? Like I think we all do it where we just sort of get home, say, oh, what's up? And then just the first thing you do, straight on your phone, you're like, just like scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Yeah, it's so easy to just like take that relationship with them for granted. I think that's something that's underrated as well.
Yeah, and something else that I think is a little bit underrated is our relationship with God. You know, it's just as important to have a relationship with the people around you as it is a relationship with God.
So true. I know, like for me, like we're just looking back on all of the sort of just like the highs where I get like a massive win or like I've, you know, made a huge like success. And then even the times where I feel like I'm just like plummeting like a complete failure.
All the time.
In like both those times, he's always there. And I feel like if I didn't have that relationship with him, dude, like the trajectory of my life would be going down, process of downs, you know?
Yeah. So true. in the Bible, we find a man named Paul, and he's writing a letter to a young person named Timothy. And now Timothy has just found himself with a lot of responsibility. You know, he's leading a church, and he's finding that there's some older people in the church that are looking down upon him because he is young. And in 1 Timothy chapter 4, Paul writes to Timothy saying, "Do not let anyone look down upon you because you are young, but instead set an example in faith, in conduct, in love, and in purity."
Yeah, I love that. I love how Paul doesn't look down on Timothy because he's young, but instead he doesn't look at who he is. He looks at his relationship with God. And he sees that that Timothy has so much influence, all because of his strong relationship with God. That's not leaning on anybody else's relationship with God. It's not with God, not his friends, not his family. And in 2 Timothy 1:5 it says, this is Paul talking to Timothy, "I'm reminded of your sincere faith, which first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice. And I'm persuaded it now lives in you also."
So Paul knew that Timothy had a good family history, but he also knew that Timothy was going to need to do something to keep an active relationship with God. You know, Timothy couldn't go walking around relying on the faith of his mom or of his grandma or of his best friend. He was going to actually need to jump in and do something about it. And young person, I want to encourage you that it doesn't matter if there's an absence of faith in your family, because only you have the power to determine what your faith looks like.
Yeah, so don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, including yourself. Hey, like I know for me it's so easy to be so harsh on myself about like a decision I've made or just a mistake that I've sort of done in life. And it's so easy to let those little like negative thoughts just creep in. But yeah, it's up to us, hey, to really not let those thoughts get the better of us.
Yeah, you know, I think it's something that we all struggle with from time to time, those voices in our heads. You know, when I first started being a youth leader, I was my own worst critic. You know, it was my own voice in my head that was saying that I was too young, that I wasn't qualified for the job, and that I was going to do a bad job. And I had to really fight really hard against those voices to just knock them out of the park and get them out of the way. And sometimes in life, that's what we have to do. We just have to fight against the voices in our own head.
Yeah, and a couple ways we can fight against those voices, I guess, is to have an active faith throughout the week. Like not just on a Friday night, but from the Friday to the next Friday. And a couple ways that I think is really underrated, and ways that we can really build our relationship and strengthen it with God is journaling. Just reading the Word. Like I know for me, if I dedicate, if I invest like the first couple minutes of my day into reading the Word, I just set my day up for a win.
Yeah.
Just journaling is awesome. And another thing is worship, something that's underrated, which is a way that you can really, again, just investing your time into worship can have just so many good effects and on the rest of your day.
Yeah, you know, it's just 3 or 4 minutes of your day, and I believe that it really sets you up for a win for the whole day. It allows you to be connected with God, and God, through the worship, is then going to be able to work through you in the rest of the day. Yeah.
And when we invest those times, whether it's reading or worshiping, that really just gives God the wheel of our life. Like, that just gives him like complete control over every situation that we're facing.
Yeah, and while we might think that things like journaling and worshiping are just small decisions in our lives, you know, they're not just small decisions, so we shouldn't underrate those things like that, because, you know, God doesn't underrate them like that.
So true.
And when we can consistently make these small decisions time in, time out, you know, when big things come in our lives, we're going to be able to go back to God, because our relationship is stronger than the situation that we're going through. And we're going to be able to trust in God to help us get through those big situations in our lives.
Awesome. So yeah, whether you've had a relationship with God for a long time or a short time, like no matter what stage you're at with him, we can all take steps to strengthening our relationship with him.
Yeah, you know, I believe that having a strong relationship with God is really, really important. You know, God is always going to be there for us. He's always there in the highest of highs, and he's there in the lowest of lows. But not only that, he also empowers us to do so many amazing things every day. You know, he strengthens us, and he's always going to be there for us. So I think it's really important that we can take these small steps to build this big relationship with God.
So this week, don't underrate and don't underestimate these seemingly small decisions and seemingly like small habits. Don't underestimate the value and the effect that they can have on your life. Because just implementing those into your everyday lifestyle can have a huge impact and can really strengthen your relationship with him.
So as we begin discussion around this idea of not having a faith that is underrated, let's be talking about how we can take these small decisions and implement them into our lives this week.
Good stuff.